This is OG Star Tracker V2, the most accurate tracker at its price point. It has go-to, easy polar alignment and remote control. 5 years earlier, I looked up to the skies in awe and I had an idea. Can I capture images of nebulae or galaxies that are thousands of light years away? These images always fill me with wonders and thoughts about vastness of universe. And since then, I was hooked to astrophotography more than you can be hooked to any drug. I was obsessively checking the weather, waiting for another clear night, like an addict waiting for another hit. So just let me check the weather, how it will be tonight. No moon and no clouds, that's how I like it. As a student, I could borrow my dad's compact camera, which worked as a camera and a telescope in one package, but sadly one small little happy accident happened to it and this is how it looks like now. Yeah, it's a sad story. Anyway, so only a star tracker was missing, which was the most expensive part, so I turned to DIY and I had many options to choose from, but they all kinda sucked compared to commercial offerings, so I have decided to make my own tracker which would be at least on par with commercial offerings, and I succeeded. This is the most accurate tracker at its price point of $250. If you wanna get Star Tracker more accurate than this one, prepare to spend at least $700. But being accurate is not enough. So this tracker features also manual go-to. Because I'm an active astrophotographer, I wanted the tracker to be practical, easy to use, and reliable. You can polar align it in 3 different ways. Its modular design and smart features let you customize it according to your needs. So let us start. Accuracy is based on 2 factors. The first one is the motor, and here we have 2 options to choose from. One being a brushless motor. Brushless motors are used on some star trackers because they are small and light and they don't require a lot of power, and in combination with warm gears, they don't need a lot of torque, which all sounds great. But they need to use encoders because the motor has no way of knowing how much it has rotated. But luckily, stepper motors do exist and they don't need encoders because they are built in such a way that allows them to make steps at the exact angle, so the controller knows how much the motor has moved without any feedback, which to me sounds good. But once again, the stepper motor can do only 400 steps per rotation, which would result in a pretty rough movement. So we use micro stepping, which allows us to divide each of these steps into more smaller micro steps, thus achieving good enough accuracy. But we don't live in a perfect world, so the rotation of the stepper motor is not perfectly even. As you can see on this graph, there are some deviations from ideal angle. Here is it only like 0.025 degrees, which is 90 arc seconds, which might seem pretty small, but when you look at the average resolution of DSLR at 300mm, it's around 5 arc seconds, so this clearly won't cut it. So we need to use gear reduction to bring that error down. Also, one-node brushless motors with encoders can have this problem too, but it depends on the encoder they use. Second part in achieving good accuracy was gear reduction. And do you know which gearbox is the best gearbox? No gearbox is the best gearbox. By using a brushless motor with highly accurate encoder, we are able to achieve perfect movement. This combination is called direct drive and they are holy grail of mounts. They have no errors and they can even actively compensate for wind gusts. But they have one very small issue, and that is that they cost as much as the cheapest cars. If you ask me, I would take the mount instead of car. This way I would have some pretty pictures of space and I would not pollute the planet. I think it's worth the deal. Anyway, this is not what I ended up choosing. I choose belts because they have good accuracy, but sadly they have low stiffness and low gear ratio. Most importantly, they are dirt cheap. Low gear ratio and stiffness I was able to fix partially in the design. By not using one, not two, but three belts, I achieved good enough gear ratio. Another important thing in making this tracker highly accurate was for the pulley to be big as possible. If you look at other mounts, they tend to have big pulleys or worm wheels. That's because the error will be smoothed out. The amplitude of error will be smaller. There are also other types of gear drives on the market that I will only quickly mention because I don't want to have half an hour long video. The most commonly used gear drives on the market are worm drives that might right now lose its first place to harmonic drives that are coming to the market. I didn't choose them because they are too expensive and they don't have such a good accuracy as belts. With this combination, I was able to achieve periodic error of 12 arc seconds during 10 minutes. Some of the new viewers might be wondering, what is a periodic error? Periodic error is a deviation from ideal angle in arc seconds. Do not trust my words, trust the results, and let me take you outside. Here I have Canon 300mm f2.8 lens with a Canon 6D, and I will take on it a 2-minute long exposure. So I am done taking the exposures, and now we can look at the results. As you can see, here I have a time lapse of the exposures and it looks pretty good. As you can see, there is no trailing. These exposures were taken on a Canon 300mm f2.8 with a Canon 6D camera, and they have length of 30 exposures. This is around 1 hour. By this point, statistically around 50% of viewers have stopped watching the video, and I am glad that you are the better half. These thumbnails on the side might look tempting. Right here might be a new video from Vsauce, which is great, but save it for later and keep watching. Making the tracker accurate is not enough. It might be enough if you want to have it as a personal project, but if you want to push it further, it needs to have some special features that other trackers don't have. And on this tracker, the feature is manual go-to, and let me show you how it works. Manual go-to is semi-automatic go-to in which one axis is fully automatic, the array axis, and the second axis, the declination, is fully manual, and this is how it works. First thing first is that we need to do a star alignment, which means that we would find some bright star on the night sky, something like Deneb or Altair, and we would center it on the camera screen and input that star into the web application. From that, it would know where the star tracker is pointing based on the coordinates of the star. After that, we would input a target we want to shoot, something like an Andromeda galaxy, and it would start automatically moving in the array axis, and it would tell you how much you need to move in the declination axis. And you would rotate this knob a certain amount of times to get to the target you want to shoot. Manual go-to has its advantages and disadvantages. Advantages are that it's cheap. It's actually the cheapest form of go-to, and it has a manual feel, which might be for some an advantage and for some a disadvantage. Disadvantages are that the pointing is not as accurate because it lacks the motorized declination axis, and it doesn't support guiding on both axes, only on the array axis. Yeah, the tracker doesn't have a guiding on array axis, but it will have soon guiding on array axis. It's better to have some go-to than a no go-to. Go-to is not the only smart feature this tracker has. It has its own control interface where you can find many smart features such as intervalometer and mention go-to. Regular photographers can use it as a panning device. The tracker is also foldable for easy transporting, and depending on the configuration, it can hold 4 or 5 kilograms. Where I can get my tracker? And that's a great question. You can buy it from my website and support me this way, or make it yourself, since all files are available for free. If you would build a tracker, don't forget to join our Discord server and upload your astro photos to Astrobin, Discord and Instagram. I would like to thank entire community around this tracker for helping me test the tracker and develop the tracker. Also, big thanks goes to these people: Lucas, Thomas, Yao Pedra Saviera, and Louis Fee for developing firmware. Also, special thanks go to Moravian Innovation Center for helping me start a business.